Hi everyone, welcome to the Bioinformatics Coach channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install and set up this tool, that is KronaTools. We are going to set it up on a Linux system. All right, so that's the only requirement, and you should also have Perl installed. For beginners, KronaTools allow you to visualize data in a hierarchical manner. Okay, it's not only for bioinformatics, but for other domains as well. But we use it in bioinformatics also a lot. And one popular domain where KronaTools is used is metagenomics. So it's used to visualize metagenomic data such as this one here. All right, so that's what you need to know. So let's get started with the installation. That's what we came here for. So let's do it. So first of all, the requirement is to have Linux. That's the only requirement because it's bioinformatics and we mostly use Linux. So I'll show you how to set this up on it. For this tutorial, we are going to compare from source. There are other ways to install, such as using Conda, which we will talk about later on. But for now, it's just the classical installation procedure. That's what we are going to do here. All right. So this is the page for Krona in case you want to read about it. So the link to this repo is in the description box. Now let's take a look at the installation procedure. So this is the page, and I'll leave the link to this page also in the description box. So we have the instructions here. You don't need to go through them. I will take you through the steps one by one, and then you will get it set up on your system. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so let's open a terminal. This is my terminal. And then let's do a CD to our home directory. That's very important. We want to set this up in a place where you can easily access. So this tutorial has been made specifically for beginners, all right? And also you don't need admin access to install this particular one, all right? The approach I'm using, you don't need admin access. That's why we are going to the home directory by using the CD command. Okay, so once we are there, let's do this. Let's create a directory called apps. We are going to put our KronaTools in this particular directory. So apps. So I'll do ls, and I'm going to see my directory called apps here. All right. I can also ls into apps. At the moment it's empty, so nothing will be displayed. All right. Now what we are going to do, let me clear the screen first. Let's do an ls again. Perfect. So now what we are going to do next is to move into this directory. We are going to cd into this directory and then work from there. That's what we are going to do. So let's cd into apps. Perfect. Now we are in apps directory. Let's ls again. The place is going to be empty. All right. The directory is empty. We are yet to add files into this directory. Now what we are going to do next is to download the Krona source. Okay, so we need to download the source codes and then compile. So we are still back to this page. So for that one, we need to go to this other GitHub repo. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, we need to come to this page here, this GitHub repo here, which is also for Krona. And then what we are going to do is to come to the releases, this section here. All right, on the right side, we have releases. So come here, there's the latest. All right, so we want to go with the latest. So what you can do is to just click it. When you click it, all right, so you get to this page. I will just redo it again for the sake of beginners. So on this page, on the right side, we are going to releases. Click on this current one, the latest one, which is this one, KronaTools. As at the time of making this tutorial, it was KronaTools 2.8.1. So click it, and when you click it, you will be sent to this page. So when you are here, we are going to use the zip one. All right, so let's download it. So to download, you can click to download. That works fine. All right, as you can see, it's been done here, but I prefer to do it on the terminal. All right, so what I'll do is to get a down link. All right, so I'll right click and then I'll copy the link. The reason why I'm going to use the terminal is there are situations where you'll be working on a remote server, remote cluster with only the terminal accessible to you. There's no graphical interface, there's no browser. So in that case, you need to know how to do these things on a terminal. So I'll need a link. So I'll copy the link. So I'll just right click. I'm using the zip one. Right click and then copy the link. Then let's get back to the terminal. We are here now. So I'll use wget and then I'll paste the link. I need to get this zip file. All right. So let's execute this command to download the source code. It will not take much time because it's a small file. Now, if you ls, you should see this file here, variant2.a.1. All right. Now let's unzip it. We are going to unzip. So I'll say unzip and I'll specify the file and I'm going to unzip it. It's very simple. So the unzip command is this one, this very one here. All right. That's it. So that's what I just did. And then I see that everything has been unzipped for me. So that's why we see all these paths. All right. Let's clear the screen. Let's do an ls. We are going to find this directory, KronaTools-2.8.1. All right. If you ls into this directory, you are going to find another subdirectory called KronaTools. All right. We are going to see this directory. All right. So what I want us to do is that I want us to cd into this directory and then go into this directory. All right. So let's cd into Krona-2.a.1. ls, you will see KronaTools here. Let's cd again into it. Do an ls and now you are going to see these files, all these files. All right. So the next thing we have to do is to run this Perl script. So that means you need to make sure you have Perl installed on your computer. And so we need to run this Perl script per the documentation online. When we come here, it tells us we need to run this Perl script. All right. So you can use sudo, you can just do this, that's fine. But we are doing the installation as non-sudo, as non-root. So we don't need this one. What we need is this one. This approach allows us to install the tools in our home directory. That's basically it. So I'll go back and then I'll install. Now there's something else that I will do. So there are options for the installation script. The prefix, that's the path where we want to install, and then the taxonomy path. For taxonomy path, we are not going to use it. All right. We are just going to maintain it as it is. We are only going to modify this one. Let's keep it simple. So let's get back to the terminal and then let's do this. So before we install, let's do pwd to see the absolute path for where we are now. So for me, this is my path, /home/cobna/apps/krona281/KronaTools. All right. So what I'm going to do is to take note of this path and then use it. So what I'll do is I'll say /install.pl and I'll say -- prefix equals. Let's just make sure it's equals, that's supposed to be there. Okay, here we don't need the equal sign. All right, so it's this. So -- prefix. I repeat, here we don't need the equal sign here, just -- prefix and space. And then we will specify the path, the full path, the absolute path that was displayed when we ran pwd. This path here. Now mine is /home/cobna/apps/krona-2.a.1/KronaTools. This is the path. So this is what I'm going to use. So let's execute this command. Now notice what we have here. We'll come back to this. Let's execute this command. And now everything has been done. All right. Once the Perl script has been executed successfully, you are going to see these things coming up. All right. So it says run update taxonomy to use scripts that rely on NCBI taxonomy. Run update accessions to use scripts that get taxonomy IDs from accessions. All right, so we have this here. All right, so these are post installation activities. All right, so we are going to do this post installation activities. All right, so you don't need to worry, we will still do everything here. All right, so let's do an ls. We are going to see that a directory called bin, that's bin, has been created. I have that here. All right, so in this directory we will have some scripts. If you ls there, you run some, you will see some script there. You see these scripts here. All right, so these are the scripts, or yeah, these are the scripts that we run whenever we want to visualize. All right, and another thing we have to do is that we have to allow permission. We have to enable permission, read and write, and then execution. All right, in some of these directories, I'll show you very soon. So let's proceed. Okay, so now we can proceed. So let's do this. Now we have the script, everything is looking great. So let's proceed. We shouldn't forget we have to run these two scripts. All right, this and then this. All right, so that's what we need to do next to prepare the Krona databases. All right, it's always important, all right, to do that. All right, so we are going to run these two scripts, this and then this, to update databases, and then we can proceed. So these scripts are useful if you are going to do some visualizations which involve NCBI taxonomy, like tracking visualizations. Okay, all right, so that's why we need to run this. So let's do this. So yeah, let's just keep that in mind. It's very important, this and this. So these scripts, you can find them, all right, in the installation directory. We have them here, this and then this. All right, so we need to run them. All right, so we are going to run them in this order. We will first run the taxonomy scripts, which is this one, and then we are also going to run the update accession.sh, which is this one here. So let's proceed. So let's clear the screen and then let's continue. I'll do an ls again just to see my stuffs. All right, so I have them there. Perfect. So in this same directory, let's look at the post install. So that's what we call the post install, running the scripts, which is update taxonomy.sh and then update accession.sh. So those are post installation activities. So we have them here. Okay, the instructions are here, but then sometimes running the scripts just like that can, sometimes we have issues due to internet connectivity and stuffs like that. All right, so what I do is that I manually download the databases and then I prepare them using the scripts. All right, so to make it simple for you, I've prepared a documentation for the post installation activities, which you can find here. All right, these are the activities. All right, so the link to this repo, or let me say the link to this page, is in the description box. All right, so we are going to do everything exactly as has been given here. We will first create a directory, download 7 files, and then prepare them accordingly. So we are basically going to follow these instructions here. I repeat, we are going to download some files here and then prepare them accordingly. All right, so we are basically going to follow the instructions here step by step. These are the commands we are going to run them. So I've categorized them into two: downloading the NCBI source files and then running the update files. So that's what we are going to do. So you do this in the Krona installation directory where you installed Krona. All right, so you need to make sure you get it there. It's very, very important. Make sure you are in that directory where you installed KronaTools. So make sure you are there. All right, so let's do this. Let's check it out. And also let me say that, so if you also have Krona already installed, it's fine. It's the same procedure that you have to use. So that's fine. So let's get back to the terminal first and let's follow the instructions. So the first step is to, or let's say the first command is to create a directory called taxonomy. So I'll create that directory. So I'll say make the taxonomy. All right, that's what we have to do first. Then we will download the files. So we have the files here. There are 7 of them, so we will download them. So each line here is a command to download one of the required files. All right, so we have all these files. So we have 7 of them, and these are the commands. All right, so sometimes your internet may be slow, you may have issues with internet, and so this command allows you to resume from where you stopped in case there is a network interruption. All right, so I'm using wget here to get the files. There are 7 of them. So let's take, for example, this one here. I say wget -c and I specify the download link for that file, which is taxdump.star.gz. So what this command does is that it will download the file, and then if, let's say, the file is already existing, it was not complete, then it's going to resume from where it's left off. All right, so this one is useful especially in situations where you are downloading a large file and then maybe due to 1 or 2 reasons the download gets interrupted. Then when you use the -c, it allows you to resume the download without having to restart again. So that is why I have this there. So let's start with this one here. Let's just copy and paste. You don't need to type everything. Just copy and paste on your terminal. So I'm doing the first one, which is here, and I'll get it done very soon. All right, so it will start downloading. This first one is 62 megabytes, and so you just have to wait for it to get downloaded. All right, so this one is done. Let's try another example. Let's try another one, another file. Let me just put it that way. So let's try another file. All right, so you have to do for all the files. So there's the other one. Let's copy and paste. We are running this one also. So this one is 1.1 gig. So we just have to take our time and let it run. Okay, the second one has been downloaded. Let's try the third one. Let's copy. We are copying everything. Let's copy. And then let's paste. So we have that also here. Yeah, in case it's not clear, I will just do this. I'll just clear the screen and just redo it again. So I'll just paste. This is the third one. You have to keep track. So download it and then let's continue. So there's 757 megabytes. So that means you need to make sure you have a good internet because the files, some of them are large. All right, so just make sure to do that. If you are on a Linux cluster, then you can also ask your system admin to download and set it up for you. Okay, this one has also been downloaded. Let's go to the next one. That is the fourth one. So let's copy and paste. So there's the fourth one. So let's download it. Okay, so there's like 2.2 gigs, so it will take some time. All right, but you need to monitor the progress, which is here. So 0%, now it's 1%. So you just have to monitor the progress and it should be done. All right. All right, this one is also done. So we will move on to the next one. And before I even move, let me say that. So let's say you are running this and then there's an issue and you want to rerun it. It's still the same command and it's going to resume for you. All right. So for example, this one, it's done. All right, so when I run this command, it will check, and if it's already done, it will tell you it has been retrieved here. If it's incomplete and there's more to download, it will continue from where it's left. So if, let's say, it stopped at 20%, it's going to begin from 20% and move on, all right, until it downloads it. So you don't need to worry about any interrupted download. All right, good. Now let's move to the next one, which is this one. I want us to do them one by one. So let's copy it, and then let's go to the terminal. Let's clear the screen. Let's paste this command and let's run it. All right, so there's 4.8, so that means it will also take some time. So again, you need to make sure you have a good internet so that you don't have a slower download. All right, so these are, some of them are large files, so you need to make sure you have a high-speed internet to download them quickly for you. So you can see that from my side here, it says estimated time is about 15-16 minutes. All right, so I'll just have to wait until everything is done. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So we have this one, which is last but one. Let's copy. Let's go to the terminal. Let's paste it, and then let's download. And there's a big one. This is 8.8 gig, so it will take some time. Okay, this one has also been done. It has been downloaded. So let's move on to the last one, which is this one. So let's copy, and then let's paste on the terminal. Let's clear the screen. Let's paste it. All right, so let's download this one also. Okay, this one is also done. Perfect. So all the files have been downloaded. All right, now let's do an ls. All right, and we are going to see the files. So we are going to have we are going to have 7 files. I repeat, we are going to have 7 files. So to check it, you can just say ls star.gz. So this should give you 7 files. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or you can say ls star.gz pipe.wc-l. So you should have 7 files. So these files are what we need. All right. Now let's proceed. Let's clear the screen. Let's do an ls, and then we can continue. So now that we have these files, we can proceed. There's something else we need to do. All right. We need to create a directory, all right, called taxonomy. All right. So that one was done initially, which is here. But if you have not done it, you just make sure you create that directory. All right. You can just say make the taxonomy. All right. So it's important you create. So if you have not done it, just make sure to do this one. All right. So for me, that directory already exists, which is here. So there's no need to do it again. So even if I try to create it, it's already there. So this message will come, but it's fine. If you have not created it and you run it, it will also work. So it's just to make sure we have everything that we need. All right. Now let's go back to the instructions, which is here. All right. Now, once you are done, you need to create another directory in taxonomy called accession to tax ID. We need to create that. All right. So we will do this. We will create it. So say make the taxonomy / accession to tax ID. This one, let's make sure we have the spelling right. So make that taxonomy / accession to tax ID. You can also do a copy and paste of this entire command. That's also fine. All right. So just make sure that you have it done. All right. So that's how it is. So I've typed the command, but I'll just copy and paste this one here. That's fine. So any of them is fine. All right. So there's it. Perfect. So that has been done. So if I ls into taxonomy, I should see this directory. Now in this directory, we will need to move some files. We are going to move all the files that have the name accession to tax ID in them. So all these files. So there are 6 of them. All right. So we need to move all these files. So we can move them one by one. There's a shortcut to do it, which is here. All right. I'll just show you. All right, so this is how we are going to move those files. All right, so we are moving all these files. All right, these ones here. So you know they all have the name accession to tax ID. So to move it, we are going to use just this command here. All right, so I'll just copy and paste, but you can also type it. That's fine. But if a beginner, you don't need to really type it. You can just copy and paste this command on the terminal. That also works fine. All right, so we'll move everything there. So let's run it. Perfect, that has been done. So now if I do an ls, those files are gone. If I ls into taxonomy, accession to tax ID, they are going to be there. So that is another step. So if you've been able to do everything this up to this time, up to this stage, congrats, you are already there. You are almost there. Now let's look at the next activity. So the next thing is to also move the tax.tar.gz, this file. We have to move it to taxonomy. That one, it goes to taxonomy. All right, just taxonomy. So we will move it. It's this file here. So we will move it. So I'll say mv tax dump, and I'll move it to taxonomy. And I'll run it. So it's also done. If I ls, it's no longer here. If I ls into taxonomy, it's going to be there. So we have that done. Perfect. So ladies and gentlemen, we are almost there. Okay, so good job to everyone. All right, so this is how we are going to do it. Now we need to execute these scripts. We need to execute this, and we also need to execute this. All right, so that's what we need to do next. Let's clear the screen. Let's ls into taxonomy to make sure we have everything we need. I just want to just ls so that we see everything here. Perfect. Okay, good. So we are now going to execute the taxonomy.sh. That's update taxonomy.sh and then update accession.sh. Okay, I repeat, update taxonomy.sh, update accessions.sh. All right. So we will start with this one. So here, when we are executing it, we also need to add some flags, some information. So I'll show you. So if you already have the files, the NCBI source files, like in our case, then we'll say /update taxonomy.sh, and we say, let's check the flag. We add -- only build because we already have the files. So we'll say -- only -build. So let's run this command. So this will take some time, so we just have to wait for everything to get done for us. Nice. The script has executed successfully. So we move on to the last one, which is to run the update accessions. So we will say /update accessions.sh, and we will say -- only -build. So let's run this. Perfect. So this one is also working. It will take some time. So we just have to wait until everything is done. Okay, now everything has been done successfully. So let's do some extra checks. Let's ls into taxonomy. I'll clear the screen first and do it. So I'll say ls taxonomy. And then when you ls into it, you should see these 3 files. So once you see these 3 files, that means that everything has been done successfully. I repeat, once you see these 3 files, that means everything has been done successfully. All right, so this one, this. All right, so this. So if you see them, That's great. That means that everything is done. So now that everything is done, we still need to do some additional stuffs so that we can always run KronaTools. All right, so let's clear the screen again. Let's ls. Perfect. And then let's proceed. Okay, so now let's do this. Now we have everything we need. All right, now to visualize your data using KronaTools, you need to execute these scripts. Let's ls into bin. You will see them. You need to execute this. All right, so one of these depend on what you want to do. All right, so we also need to make sure that we're able to run any of these scripts in wherever directory we are. All right, so what we need to do is to add the bin directory, okay, and then the lib directories to our path, then we can run it. All right, so that's what we are going to do. All right, so again, let's do pwd, all right, to see where we are. Let's ls. We also have the bin. So what we are going to do is to get the full path, or let's say the absolute path for the bin directory. All right, that's what we are going to do. There are different ways of doing it. One of them is to say real path and say bin. So that will give you the path, the absolute path. All right, so we are going to do this. We are going to add this, all right, to our path. All right, and then we can proceed. So what we will do now is to do that basically. So make sure to take note of this path. All right, make sure to copy whatever you see. Yours is likely to be different, so make sure to copy this path that you have. So copy it first, we will use it later. All right, now that we are done here, what we can do is to cd back to our home directory. All right, so when we cd back to our home directory, that's what we are going to do. We are going to add this to our path. All right, and we are going to do this by modifying the .bashrc file. So the .bashrc file is hidden, but then what we are going to do first is to make a copy of it. So I'll just say cp.bashrc, and I'll say bashrc.back. All right, so now if I say ls bashrc.back, it's going to be returned to me. So that means that we have created it. It's a backup. We don't really need it. We only use it if we want to reverse the changes we've made to the .bashrc file. Then we can go back to the backup file, but we are not going to need it, hopefully. So what we will do is to open the .bashrc file. I'll use nano, that's what I use, but I can also use vim or any text editor, that's fine. So we'll say nano.bashrc, and then I will scroll down to an empty space. You should go down to the bottom. Okay, you can see some, if it's a new installation, probably all these places are blank. So I'll just do it here. So when I'm here, I'll say export path equals $path, and I'll bring it here. I'll paste that path. You can also bring it before $path. That's also fine. It depends on you. Whichever case is going to work. All right. I'm assuming that this is the only KronaTools installation you have. All right. So this is how it's going to be. So now we will exit and then save changes. All right. So now what we are going to do is to open another terminal and then just test. So I'll open another terminal now. All right, so I have opened another terminal, so we are going to do some checks. So what I'll do is to just type kt import taxonomy. All right, I will just type this and then I'll execute it. Now, if it has been set properly, if everything is okay, then you are going to see something like this, which is like the help statements, all right, to show you the usage. All right, so once you see this, that means that everything is fine. All right. If you still have issues, you can also just get back to me, book a session, and we can resolve this. All right. So that's fine. So now everything is working perfectly. All right. So it's good. Perfect. So now that we have this, it's also important we test with an example data. That's what we are going to do now. So I have a data already prepared, which is a Kraken classification output. So what I would like us to do is to visualize that using KronaTools. All right, so that's what we are going to do next. And so if you want to visualize, for example, a Kraken classification output using KronaTools, then you need to first get the data set. So first of all, let's create a directory. Let's say Kraken. You can say Kraken or you can say visualization. Any of them is fine. But let's assume it's a Kraken classification result. All right. So I would just say make the Kraken. All right. I can do something like so. I can even say Kraken projects, or let's say metagenomics projects. I can do it this way. Okay. So we are creating this directory, which is the project directory, and then I'll seed it into it. All right, I'm seeding into metagenomics. Then I'm going to get my Kraken data, my Kraken output file. All right, the classification report. So I already have an example on one of my GitHub repos, this very same page, which has the post install instructions. So when you come here, again, the link to this page is in the description box. You see a file called krakenreport.tsv. I want us to download this. So to download, just click it. So when you click it, you'll be sent to another page, which is here. So when we are here, you can click on this download button. Or you can also click on raw, and then the link will be given to you. But from raw, I'll just right click and copy the link. So this one will copy the link for you. All right. Another way is to also just click on raw. So when you click on raw, you are going to see something like this. All right. So when you see something like this, just right click this address entry box and then copy the link. So this link is what we need. I will still put it in the description box. So after that, go to the terminal and then use wget and then paste the link. All right, paste it and then execute it. So this will download the file for you. So do an ls, you are going to see the file there. You can even do a head. Let's say head-n for this to get some of the information, the contents. Okay, so there's a Kraken 2 classification report. So we have it something like this. So that's fine. Now we need to visualize using Krona. All right. So you have the file already here. So what you have to do is to now run kt taxonomy imports to generate the plot for you. So to do that, I will just say kt import taxonomy. It's supposed to be this way. Let me just do it for me. So I'll just do it this way. So kt import taxonomy, which is here. All right, so this is it. So kt import taxonomy. Then I'll specify the Kraken file and I'll say -o. So there's a basic usage, okay, a basic example. There are other modifications you can add, there are other options you can add, but this is just for demonstration. But when you check the documentation page, there are other options that you can add, naming, stuff like that. So, right, so those things are beyond the scope of this tutorial, but this is the basic example to help us test KronaTools. So I'll say -o and I'll say Krona. Yeah, krona.html. You can give it any name you want. It's an HTML file, so it's important you add a .html extension. All right, so let's execute this command. So when you do it, it will start loading the taxonomy and it will generate the plot. All right. There are situations where you also get this warning message which tells you that some taxonomy IDs were not found in the local database. All right, so they were set to root. So this means that some information in our Kraken reports or the input file you are using cannot be found in the database that Krona uses, i.e. the database that we just created or prepared. All right, so that means you may need to update, or probably that information is not yet available to Krona. So you may need to consider updating, or you can choose to leave it as it is, or maybe consult the KronaTools developers to alert them or to let them know of this. All right, so it's a warning. That means that some of these classifications, when it comes to Krona, they will be in quotes unclassified. They will be put in roots because we don't have information for them. So that's what it is. So the report has been created. So it says writing krona.html. It has been done. Let's clear the screen. Let's do an ls, and we are going to find it there. So there's it. So because it's an HTML file, we can also view it using our browser. So let's use our file manager to visit this folder or directory and then open this HTML file. All right, so I have opened my directory, which is this one here. So this is the file, krona.html. So I can open it, and when I open it, I'll see my plots. All right, so it's so cool. All right, so this is what Krona can do for us. All right, and Krona is not just for metagenomics data visualization. You can also use for other visualizations, provided you have formatted your data. Okay, you have put your data in the right format, then you can visualize using KronaTools. These are things that if you want to do, you can also book a session with me and we will look at how to do that. All right, so this is how we install and set up KronaTools, and we have also tested. So now we have your outputs, and then you can start interpreting. You can also highlight each of these classifications that you have. Let's say, for example, this, you can just click any of those groups that you have, and then the details will be given to you. So for example, I click on bacteria, so it now tells me bacteria, these are the contents in bacteria, and then you can start examining and then making sense out of your data. All right, so that will be all for this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next session. And by the way, it's also possible to install KronaTools using Conda, and I have a tutorial on that, so check that tutorial out right here.